يعني نفس ما يعملوا بالسوق مثلا يعملوا كذا. حكيت له كمان
يا هلا البيت الزيدين يلي طير بكم زيد ابني يا هلا البيت الزيدين يلي طير بكم زيد ابني
Let's take some of these. It's kind of what you expect, isn't it?
You did it! Well done.
Why?
Lovely.
Why?
Because it was there.
Because it was there to do.
Oh, and you promised me a cup of tea when we got to the top.
I have to wait till the bottom.
Make it sandy. Kick it up.
I don't recognise.
What?
Leave it up. Just leave it up. I don't know if there's a couple of those young girls.
الله يهنيها امك يا محمد الله يهنيها بعلاليها وصوت غني وبعلالي امك يا ناصر الله يفرحها
والله لا تفتح
is done. And how is it prepared? They dig a hole. They dig a hole and they set a barrel like this. And when it's ready, they set fire in the bottom of the barrel. And after that, meat and chicken with different kinds of vegetables, potatoes, tomatoes, onion, okay? And all of it in a basket. And they put it in the hole. If any air got inside, it will spoil the meal. Okay?
isn't it? Sleep well.
And you too.
See you in the morning for the sunrise and the camel.
Yes. I need to put the alarm on now because I can't
do.
see anything in my room.
You do need to put the alarm on, and so do I.
I deem him one of the greatest beings alive in our time. We shall never see his like again. His name will live in history. It will live in the annals of war. It will live in the legends of Arabia.
Come on, man!
For over a quarter of a century, controversy has raged around the name of T.E. Lawrence. No man of our time has drawn upon himself so much praise and so much criticism.
It was built so that people could travel to on a religious pilgrimage from north to south. I can't remember whether it was to Turkey or whatever.
This is a railway line that goes from Syria to Turkey. What's its name?
Hijaz Railway. But the railway was blown up by Lawrence of Arabia when they were trying to quell the Ottoman Empire.
Thank you. Typical Bedouin tent. I'm guessing that Abraham would have lived in something like this.
It was very carved. Because it used to be a solid block like this, and it was very carved by the Nabateans. As most of the buildings and the facades we will see here or tomorrow in the whole site of Petra, it was fully carved. And this is the only thing that survived from the ancient city of Petra. All the houses, all the palaces, all the temples, which were built by the Nabateans, they almost washed away, either by the earthquakes or by the frequent flash floods that took place in the city of Petra through hundreds of years. And until today, the city of Petra is still witnessing flash floods. And during winter time, when we have flash flood, they close the site. It depends, sometimes they close it for a day or for 2 days. Now, my friends, if you take a look at this facade, above the triangle, in the middle of the triangular pediment above, we can see a jar, an urn. Of course, urns what do they symbolize? Death? Or wealth? For instance, nowadays, if I was digging and I found a jar, the first thing I would think about that it contains gold or silver left by the ancient people or the ancient civilizations, right? But in fact, according to the ancient civilizations, jars or urns, they symbolize death, not wealth. And this is taken from the Mesopotamian civilization. As according to historians, the first people who started cremation, they were the Mesopotamians. Burning the dead bodies, collecting the ash, and keeping it in a jar. And if you take a look at the holes, can you see the holes in the jar? Of course, the local Bedouins here, they thought that these jars contained gold and silver. So they used to shoot their rifles to break the jar, thinking that if they broke it, gold and silver would shower them. But later they realized that it is a solid. It is solid. It's not empty from inside. And so it contained nothing. This means that this facade, it was carved by the Nabateans to serve as a burial place. It was a tomb. The most recent excavation that took place, it was in front of the treasury itself. And that was in 2004.
This is a triclinium, and one of them, it's where eating places has been decked out. The others are
For some of them, they had two stories.
had their complete water systems. And this is where people ate. This was a rest place, Little Petra. Wonderful, cool, safe for the caravans. This is at the hotel. Forgotten what it's called. Old Village Hotel. What does it used to be?
It was the Bedouin home.
Bedouin village made into a complete hotel. This is the olive press. It'll be that up there. Yeah. So, olive trees, olive press. The cool breeze of the evening and the warmth of the sun. Just can't beat it, can you?
That's where we were sitting.
This is where we were sitting, reading our books, doing proper holiday things.
Walk around swimming pool there.
Yes. Nice. Hello. This is for YouTube, huh?
Hello, Barbara.
Yes, hello. Oh, this is such a stunning place. Hello. We catch the sunset from here. I caught the sunrise this morning. Yes, we're on a sunset hunt. Well, it's just lovely to film walking around, isn't it? 'Cause we're all be able to walk round it in our mind's eye.
Hello, madam.
We are looking for a sunset.
This way, please.
What, the sunset?
Yes, from this way and left. Thank you.
Oh, how kind. Thank you. Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah.
Turn left and put it down that one.
Yeah. Good evening. Looks nice. Nice supper walking past. This is it.
Hey guys.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Look at that. I found it, Rosemary.
Yeah.
How long is it going to go? 20 minutes.
Are you buying drinks?
Do you think this is ever going to go down?
No, but I'm just actually going. Do you know what? I think it's just staying out of spite. As soon as you put your camera down, okay, bang, down.
Last night it went so fast.
Supposed on the flat earth.
These are all the vendors.
Anybody, my friends, anybody needs toilets? Right here.
That's our guide. He knows so much. He's coming into Petra.
My friends, if you take a look at these three facades, this monument, this one, that one with the opening, and that one. These are known as the genie blocks. The genie blocks, you know the genie? Yeah. Aladdin and the lamp, okay? And remember, this is a new name. And this name, it was given to these three facades, or these three monuments, by the locals. As the locals here believe that the genie inhabited these blocks. But in fact, these blocks were carved by the Nabateans to be a burial place, to be a tomb. My friends, I need you to take a look in the corner. Can you see the cave? And what can you see up, on the top of the cave?
Steps.
Steps, right? These steps, this is a Mesopotamian influence. Mesopotamian influence. And these steps symbolize going up to heaven. And as you see, there are two courses of steps. One heading to the right and another one heading to the left. Of course, the one heading to the right, if that person, or the dead man, or the body, okay, if he had good deeds, he would go to the right. He would take the steps to the right, which means to heaven. If he had bad deeds, he would go to the left, to hell. So, my friends, this is a Mesopotamian influence. So, as the Nabateans, they were influenced by all the surrounding civilizations. They were influenced by the Mesopotamians, by the Greeks, by the Romans, by the Egyptians, and even by the Indians. As the city of Petra, it was a regional center, and merchants and camel caravans used to come from different parts of the world. And remember, my friends, the location of modern-day Jordan, it was a linking bridge between the ancient civilizations. So everybody met here. They used to come from different parts of the world, meeting here, where they benefited from the services that the Nabateans provided for those camel caravans. And this is what made the Nabateans very wealthy people because of the traders and the merchants. The person who paid for carving this tomb. And the number of the obelisks, this indicates how many people were buried inside. Here we have 4 obelisks, and the one, or the owner, or the one who paid, this makes them 5 people were buried inside the tomb.
In the way back, guys, if you want to buy anything here, will be 30% discount in nice Yeah. See you later, alligator.
This is not a
It is
carved
natural,
gorge. It's a
split
natural
between
gorge.
the mountains,
Goes on.
and it happened, and it was formed as a result of an earthquake. Nobody knows, thousands or millions of years ago. Anyway, and this is the beginning of the bone. But it's believed that with the coming of the Romans, and as they brought with them the horse-drawn carriages, which had the iron wheels, and the iron wheels destroyed the sandstone pavement. So they had to repave it with a harder kind of rock, which was the limestone. And here, my friends, if you take a look to the left-hand side, take a look at this wall, and here we can see a narrow gorge. Also, flash floods attacked the city of Petra from these side narrow gorges. Also for the same reasons, protecting and also collecting water, they built like this wall. But this wall, this is not the original one, by the way. It was reconstructed in 1983. But they reused the same blocks which were buried in sand.
So is it?
If you join the 2 sides, okay, they would match. And also this is another proof that this gorge, it wasn't carved by the Nabateans. If it had been carved by the Nabateans, they wouldn't make it like this. It would be straight. But even the Nabateans, when they came here, they found it as we see it today.
Every time you turn the corner, it's yet more colour. Yet more sunlight. This set of steps, and it would be somewhere where the caravan, if they wanted to rest, could find refreshment. We kind of went up something like this yesterday at the triclinium. This is the end of the gorge, and here, apparently, we discover the treasury.
You know, they replaced the horse-drawn carriages with the buggies.
So the more you go, the more you see. That's true.
I will not say anything at this moment. I need you to enjoy it.
Right for a picture. What do you want the camera for a picture? قدم عني بعد Camera right.
Camel, you want camel? Nice
Here it is, incredibly treasury.
To the left, my friends. To the left. I will give an explanation about the treasury.
We have an explanation about the treasury, which we're picking up our guide.
My friends,
We have little
now we are
whispers,
standing in front
little
of the most
headphones.
elaborate and most well intact facade in the whole city of Petra. And remember, the treasury is one of 927 facades in the city of Petra. 927. But this one, the treasury, is the most elaborate one and the most well intact and the most important facade in the whole city of Petra. Not a financial institution.
The word treasury is a new name because of the jar at the top here. However, people thought that there was gold and silver in here, so they gave it the name treasury, but actually Mesopotamians were the first to cremate, and so it's more likely that this is a tomb. This is an eagle, and they was given the charge of protecting the souls inside the tomb.
Nabatean. But you said Nabatean?
We're being asked how many columns can we see?
Oh, he died.
6.
Then became a god for them. So they became
So
Now the capitals, which is the top of the pillars.
Which is
A mixture of three kinds: Corinthian, which is a Roman influence, Ionic, which is Greek influence,
and also
and Nabatean.
the Nabatean capital. So many influences.
So many influences in these capitals.
Yeah, you remember the Medusa?
Capitals. Greek, Roman, and Nabatean.
There was a statue of Medusa.
Roman and Nabatean. This is the activity here. There's that gorge that we came out of and saw this amazing building. Excavation. Carrying around these ever-patient camels.
And it's believed that this facade, it was carved between 50 BC and 50 AD. And it was dedicated for one of the most successful Nabatean kings, who was Aretas IV. Aretas IV, who became a divine king. So, this facade, my friends, it's no longer a treasury. But this is a name that was given by the local Bedouins who lived here before 1985. It was a burial place for Aretas IV, the most successful Nabatean king, and who did a lot of good things for the Nabateans. That's why he became a divine king after his death.
Right, carrying on with our walk, leaving the tomb of Aretas IV and on into the next chunk of gorge.
And as you see, the entrance is topped with a triangular pediment, and also there was a jar, but it's broken. For the same reason, when they broke the jar or the urn on the top of the treasury.
People would shoot at the jars thinking there was money in them.
My friends, postcards. $1 or $1 dinar. 40 postcards.
This is a cafe.
Apparently the road into Petra was like this, and so it was important you had to come in on horseback. And then they built this, much easier to walk on, and they had buggies going up and down here. These were tombs. This is just on the way through to the second part of the gorge. All the way down. These amazing carvings. And this is how to make a camel in sand.
And the sand from the sandstone, all natural, from Petra. Now we do the camel with the black sand here. We do the legs, the camels. We use the Petra pies.
Oh, very clever.
That's the glass. And also we do the name. It's like anybody, we're trusting with the name.
And the location.
The size and the location showed how wealthy you were.
On the right-hand side, they are elaborate,
These tombs
decorated, vivid with decorations.
are elaborate, highly decorated, for rich people. Whereas these are not. This is the amphitheatre.
So this is the only theater in the whole world which was fully carved into the rocks. And as you see, my friends, it is divided into 3 main levels. They made it over 3 levels. The first level, it was dedicated for the notable people, the wealthy. The second level, less wealthy and less notable. And at the back, this was for the average people or the poor people. But the question here, my friends, if you take a look at the back of the theater, what we can still see? Can you see the caves? What we can see on the top of the caves? Steps, right? And the steps, they symbolize tombs going up to heaven, right? So the question here, what made the Nabateans carve tombs at the back of a theater? And we all know that theaters, they were made for entertainment, for entertaining people. This theater, it has never ever been used for entertainment. It might have been used for burial ceremonies, for religious purposes, not for celebrations and shows and entertaining people.
These are all natural colours as well.
Should work now. Good? Yep.
This is freshly squeezed. It smells wonderful. There's a cool breeze coming through here. This is worth every dinar. Beautiful squeezed orange. Let's stop. Let's titanium.
They're doing discussions about how they can protect them like wax. But
That
nobody's done that.
they probably won't work if that inhibits the rocks.
The tremors are such precious.
There are 30,000 people lived here, and these have all been tombs so far, so we're being asked the question, where did they live? This is just a backward view. It's a bit of a summary of what we've seen and walked through. And here we go, on we go.
That's how fast they would have gone.
And now, my friends, here we come to a different part of the city of Petra.
We're standing under the
And
shade of a
this is the beginning of the
450-year-old
Roman
pistachio
part of the
tree.
city.
This is the
So when the Romans occupied the city of Petra in 106 AD, they add their touch on the city. In other words, they Romanized the city of Petra. So they started building some facilities which were especially, and we can find them, and they were typical in all Roman cities. And beside the street, these are the remains of the Nymphium or the public fountain. And my friend, if you take a look at the pavement here, this is limestone. It was paved with sandstone. But when the Romans came, they brought them the carriages with the iron wheel, and that destroyed the sandstone. So they had to repave it with a harder kind of rock, which is limestone.
This is where civilization happened, really, isn't it? It's where life happened, everyday life, conversation, sorrows, joys, news, gossip.
Yeah. Fast food, take away.
Back along the colonnaded street to find a shady place for lunch. In speed, we made it back to this beautiful, beautiful shade in about 45 minutes. The reconstructed face of a Nabatean man, based on the physical anthropological study of the human skull that was found in the window tomb in 2003. Human bones are rarely recovered in Petra. The man was around 50 years old and of high social status. This is the only example of a reconstructed face of an Nabatean. They were clever chaps. Day 5 in Jordan, and this is Shobak Castle, it's Crusader Castle. Built on its own land. Very impressive. This is its context. Seen this quite a lot, made into various pendants and jewellery and mats and coasters. It's actually very beautiful. We're now at Madaba, and in the car park where the coach is this. Mosaic. home of mosaics. And there is Tiberius. This is the mosaic that we were being taught about outside. So this is us having lunch in Madaba. Mint tea and lemon with mint, which seems to be mainly mint. It's beautiful, it's cold, ice cubes and mint. How was the mint tea?
Very nice, refreshing.
Yeah. So this is the view from the top of Mount Nebo. And that's the Dead Sea, is it? Yeah. Yes.
So where is the promised land? In this direction. This is Amman. Amman is located to the north of Mount Nebo. This is Amman, the capital of modern day Jordan. And to the left hand side, in the look direction, this is the Dead Sea. Dead Sea. And even on a clear day, beyond the green area, we can see Jericho. And Jericho is the nearest city in Palestine. It's only 27 kilometers from here, from the top of this mountain to Jericho. Only 27 kilometers. And Jerusalem, 46 kilometers only. And it's straight ahead. And on a clear day, we can see, during the day, we can see the mountains of Jerusalem, and during the night we can see the lights of Jerusalem. Given the name of Mount Nebo. This is the biblical name that was given to this mountain. While the peak of this mountain, it was given the name or the word Siaga. Siaga. This is the biblical word that was given to the top or the peak of the mountain. While Mount Nebo, the whole mountain from the bottom until the top. And this mountain, it has always been known that this is the place where Moses showed the Israelites the promised land 3,300 years ago. And you know the story of Moses, when he got the Israelites out of Egypt, and it took them 40 years from Egypt, crossing the Sinai Peninsula, and also crossing the Red Sea on a dry ground, when they were followed by the Pharaoh and his army. And when Moses was revealed by the Lord to strike the sea with his staff, and it split. So Moses and his people managed to cross the Red Sea on a dry ground. And when the Pharaoh and his army followed them, they were drowned. And after that, it took them 40 years roaming the desert of Sinai until they got to the top of this mountain. So this is the message that this monument wants to deliver, that this site or this mountain, it belongs to everybody. And this is what makes Mount Nebo the second most visited site here in Jordan after Petra, as it's visited by the Jews, the Christians, and also by the Muslims. And this is the memorial of the Prophet Moses. And inside the church, there is a tomb. Actually, it's not a tomb. It's a shrine, as they have never found any bones inside. You know, a tomb, you usually find bones. But this tomb, they have never found any kind of bones, as nobody knows where Moses was buried, as he was buried by the Lord.
It's changed to have a different voice.
These ruins are the bricks that were used in the monastery. It was built in the 5th and 6th century.
Thank you. It's hard to read this. Mount Nebo is inhabited since remote antiquity. However, its real fame derived from the biblical event that occurred upon it as described in the book of Deuteronomy 34, the death of Prophet Moses, who climbed this holy mountain at the end of his life to see the promised land. Then Moses went up from the lowlands of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, eastwards from Jericho, and the Lord showed him the whole land. There in the land of Moab, Moses, the servant of the Lord, died as the Lord had said. He was buried in a valley in Moab opposite Beth Peor, but to this day no one knows his burial place. Lovely to read that here. Very special.
Right.
So we're on our way to the Dead Sea. See how dry all of this is. This really was the trek into the promised land. Similar. This is the Dead Sea.
When Jordan got its independence in 1946, the West Bank and Jerusalem was part and governed by Jordan.
Driving up the River Jordan, well, up the top end of the Dead Sea.
In 1967, after the Six-Day War between 3 Arab countries and Israel, Jordan lost the West Bank and Jerusalem. Syria lost the Golan Heights, and Egypt lost Sinai Peninsula and Gaza Strip. And Jordan is the second Arab country to sign a peace treaty with Israel. The first Arab country was Egypt in 1978, and Jordan in 1994. The citizens of Josh, in order to commemorate the visit of the Roman Emperor Hadrian, they erected him this arch. Okay, my friend. Now we are in the stadium, or the hippodrome, for chariot and horse races. And among of all the hippodromes in the Roman Empire that involved chariot races and horse races and gladiator fights, this was the smallest. And it measures 52 meters wide by 244 meters. And before the earthquake of 749, it had 16 rows that surrounded the whole hippodrome from all sides. And if you take a look at the other semicircular end of the hippodrome, we can also still see some of the rows. Of course, nowadays, the only part, this is the only part that survived. And all the sills we see on the left-hand side, these were shops. And remember, my friends, we are still outside the walls of the city of Jerash. Just as in our days, if a stadium to be built, it would be built in a place that would be away from the crowds, and also to give enough space for the people to enjoy their time. And also, these shops, they used to sell snacks and juice, just as in our days. My friends, am I making some progress?
Yes.
By walking and talking?
Yes.
Just keep me updated with that, okay? And try to give me some encouragement.
Yes.
Okay?
Yalla, yalla.
The city of Jerash was surrounded by walls with towers every so often. I should think a little bit like Hadrian's Wall in the UK.
$1 dinar postcard to Jerash or Jordania, 14 cat, $1, 1 dinar.
So the Romans, when they came, there were already some buildings here. So they destroyed those buildings and reused the blocks in building the defensive towers and also the wall and the other facilities. Yalla yalla. The remains of the shops. And these shops, they used to sell different kinds of items. And the things which were sold on these shops, they were necessary items for ceremonial and religious occasions. As the wall we see on the left-hand side, this is a small portion of the huge complex, which is the Temple of Zeus. The Temple of Zeus. And here in the city of Jerash, 2 temples were built. The Temple of Zeus, which was dedicated for the god Zeus, and another temple which was dedicated for Artemis. Now, my friends, we are standing in one of the most important facilities in the city of Jerash. Take a look at the surrounding. All what you see here, this is the original. Not a single thing has been reconstructed here, except the column in the middle. This is what is known as the oval plaza. Oval plaza because it has an oval shape. This is a new name. This is the forum. And also, it was called then as the agora. Agora. In fact, this was downtown Jerash. And this plaza, it was mainly used for socializing and meeting. Announcements also took place here. In addition to that, honoring the gods and the goddesses in a public place also took place here. Can you see the Jordanian flag? There was an altar there. And this is where the offerings and the sacrifices were offered for the gods and the goddesses. And the most important thing about this plaza, that it served as a hub. You know a hub?
Yes.
It connected the different parts of the city with each other. So people used to come to here, and if you take a look behind, these steps leading to the huge courtyard of the Temple of Zeus. Of course, the only part which was reconstructed, the steps only. And it's typical for all Roman temples to have a huge courtyard where people met and people used to do their prayers in the courtyard. Let me tell you about the other temple, which was dedicated for Artemis. So what made the Romans, and before the Romans, the Greeks, built two temples in the city of Jerash? Of course, because at that time, two parts of people inhabited the city of Jerash. The Hellenistic part of the population and also the Arabs inhabited the city of Jerash. Of course, the Arabs, they preferred Zeus, while the Hellenistic part of the population, they preferred Artemis. Of course, Artemis, it was more important for the citizens of Jerash more than Zeus. So my friends, the courtyard and the temple itself, it's accessed from the Oval Plaza. And take a look at the building beside the temple of Zeus. This is the southern amphitheater. And this is the largest here in Jerash. And it accommodates about 5,000 spectators.
Oh, this is looking back on the Oval Plaza where we were standing.
Between 161 and 164.
Coming out to where they have a festival of arts. Usually takes place in the evening when it's cool. Guide Ottman saying thank you.
The southern amphitheater in the city of Jerash.
So leaving the stage, where the Jerash Festival of Arts and Culture happens once a year. We had our own today. Let's see where we're off to next.
Of course, it goes all along the Carter Street.
It goes all the way along.
You know, for the drainage of water, rainwater, and also some of the shops, they needed continuous supply of water. And this is the beginning of the Colonnade Street, or the Cardo, the main street of the city, and it was the heart of the city of Jerash. On the pavement.
People walked on the pavement. These are the chariots for the chariots.
Yeah. You know, they needed to be cleaned from time to time.
This is the road. This is the high street.
If anything got stuck inside, it would, overflow the street.
This is the pavement where people should walk.
Yeah, all along the Carter Street. All along.
Crossroads.
The gate at the back with the iron,
there's up there.
the black iron door. This is Damascus Gate. And this is the northern end of this. And this temple, it was finished in 150 AD. Of course, even this temple, we call it the unfinished temple. Unfinished. As it was supposed to be bigger than this. But because of the unrest and the uprisings that this city witnessed at that time, they couldn't finish building the temple.
This was these columns were another temple to Dionysus, but they made it into a church. Bird singing his heart out. Theatre, we've just come in to discover this stage. Wow. Another wow moment. I should use a different word. It's really hard to use a different word. Hi. Thank you. Thank you, okay. Okay. There's stairs rather gingerly. Now at stage level. With the 2 levels again and the doorways halfway up, so you don't disturb the performance if you're late.
I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for listening.
We come to the end of the Damascus Gate as the old juxtaposes with the new. And now we're going to walk back along the colonnaded street for a spot of lunch. Particularly late in the day. I just twigged that Jerash is Gerasa, of course, was the Gerasenes, and Jesus was in the. That's exactly where the. Oh, there's a bird. Tomb of. The man was in the tombs. Demon-possessed man, and Jesus crossed Galilee and came to the land of the Gerasenes and healed the man. And he was. We love that phrase. He was discovered sitting on a tombstone, clothed and in his right mind. Love that.
Now we're back in the Oval.
Of course, calling Jerash the land of the Gerasenes, as Rosemary's quite rightly said, is likely to be in a large area. And Jesus' encounter with that man wouldn't have been here, would have been opposite on the other side of Galilee. So the land of the Gerasenes must have gone from here all the way up on the right-hand side of the Jordan, east side of the Jordan River. And I think it did. That was the area of the Decapolis, Rosemary.
Yes. Well, that's raised the question as to whether we ought to call it the Gerasenes.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yes.
He called it Gerasa.
Yes, this is. Yes, Gerasa. We should use a soft G, shouldn't we? I think I agree with that. This is Rosemary in the Dead Sea. She's still alive. The Dead Sea is remarkable because it's freshwater Galilee with the snows from Hermon, Mount Hermon, flow into Galilee, which is fresh water. And then there's the River Jordan. And then he comes down to the Dead Sea, and the Dead Sea has such a high concentration of minerals and salts. Nothing can live in it. Amazing. So what's your hoped outcome from this experience? That you should be young and beautiful again?
No, that's never going to happen.
That you will feel soft and renewed or revigorated?
I will remember it for a long time. And not because I've got some
the opportunity for a free Dead Sea product?
Yes.
You would never know that it was dead. That nothing can live in it. Would you? Good morning, Dead Sea. We leave you today. One last beautiful shot. I bet you've never seen anything quite like this. This is shoes from the Dead Sea. I packed them this morning. They sorted right in the top. So this is the border with Israel. We're moving into Jerusalem today. And our passports checked. This is the border. Maybe we retain the same route. Pick up the coach. coach. They've gone through the border control. There's the Allenby Bridge we went across.
That's a very significant moment. And the first thing that they will get, they stop at Gilgal, which is in this area, and they do the ceremony with the stones and all that. But after that, they will just cross over to Jericho.
This is the Israel side of the Dead Sea.
A neighborhood, an Arab neighborhood that's partially inside Jerusalem, partially outside Jerusalem.
This is going up Mount Scopus, where the university is.
We're circling the university to go to Mount of Olives.
Based on arches, now
top
the
of Mount
arches
Olives.
have to
This
be
is the
supported
Jewish cemetery
from both sides.
because people believe
So
that
this
the
is the
Messiah
eastern
will
wall.
come back here.
And in this case, the eastern wall is also the exterior wall of the city. So it functions in two ways. Being mean of defense.
The gates of Jerusalem, the Golden Gate. And then there are gates all the way around. And we go in. Straight up into this, which you now know is the Golden Gate. Let's come in to the Garden of Gethsemane. So some of us have gone into there for, I was pretty sure it's there, for falafel and chips. And why not? Look jolly delicious. Some of us wandered down the road a little bit. And we're on our way to the Israel Museum. This is the model of the temple at the Israel Museum. The wind doesn't catch this. When the bedraggled refugees came back from Babylon, they built some kind of humble temple under Ezra. And then there was the Maccabees. I'm not sure I know much about that part of the history, in between the Testaments. Herod, who came and built what we have here and what the temple that Jesus would have known. And this is a model of it. what a moving display of human tragedy and suffering on a worldwide scale. I know we call it a world war, but you don't realise how much of the world was sucked into this story. Suddenly the word lament takes on a whole new dimension. This is the view as you come out of the museum. It's not really a museum. The museum is about history, but the living, surviving reverberations will never be history. This is the Western Wall, sometimes known as the Wailing Wall. There's the women, and here are the men.
Okay, so this is really just a retention wall. Just a retention wall holding up the platform, which held up.
This is the women's side of the divide, Great Divide. However, the praying isn't just done by the men, because there are lovely women on this side who are reading their prayer books and praying. Now we're into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. We have to turn to the right as soon as we get in. So this is the iconic view from Dominus Flavit. Jesus wept over the city. I wanted to save you, but I couldn't. You wouldn't listen. But he would have ridden down here on Palm Sunday into the city, and a few days later he would be that sacrifice and then rise again on the third day, never to die again, so he could eternally be that sacrifice. Amazing story. I've never seen this little chapel empty. We're blessed to have it today, all to ourselves. Just to give a sort of idea, this is Jerusalem, of course. There's this iconic dome. It would have been an iconic temple. But here is where we started, with the Jewish cemetery. And at the very top is the viewpoint. And that's where this church is. We're sitting in the cool of the day. enjoying figs and dates from Sainsbury's. We're stepping out onto Temple Mount.
Sorry, sir. Guys, shorts not allowed. Come take cover. No shorts. Short not allowed. Take cover. No shorts.
We were given these skirts to wear. No shorts up here on the Temple Mount where the mosque is. This is a very beautiful mosque. It's this huge area, isn't it, this Temple Mount? It would have been, the temple would have been thronged with pilgrims just like this. Probably without sunglasses and cameras. Same happy chatter. And they would have been singing psalms. This is a Jewish school. That's how I kind of imagine disciples to be. Full of life, full of talking, full of debate. This is now walking up to Jaffa Gate. Bless you. The shops are just opening. It's 10:15 in the morning. This is the Damascus Gate where they all come and sell coriander and spices and leaves. This is where everybody does their normal shopping. The smells are glorious. Rosemary being brave and buying from a street vendor these amazingly beautiful breads. Garden tomb is down here. They've made a very lovely garden setting for this. It's interesting that this, Rosemary's just commented and noticed that this is a kind of gully across the entrance. It may well have taken a heavy stone as a seal, as a doorway, so it's possible to see. looking inside. Just looking at the topography of how they built the wall above the ground is just, these are the Crusaders, it's just an engineering feat, isn't it? This is the local supermarket. Beautiful fruit and veg. The size of these lemons. Sat for lunch, it's the Indian Hospice. I've not heard of the Indian Hospice, and this cat came and looked straight at me as soon as I got my camera out.
Did you bring in the antisan?
I did. Well, we're ending our day in Jerusalem by going to, oh look, you really can't beat the delight of all over the world, kittens, puppies. This is Bethesda. And very near the sheep gate, otherwise known as the Lion's Gate, and there it is. If you read the Bible bit, it says you went to the sheep gate and went to Bethesda. Very clearly a big space, big place. This is where he'd healed a man who'd been paralysed for 38 years and couldn't get into the healing water. He engaged with a single individual and made a difference to his life. Hi fellas. How does this bird hang on? This is the Church of St. Anne at Bethesda. It's just such a beautifully plain church. It's a rather nice statue of Mary as a girl being taught the scriptures, my guess. Being taught about God by her mum. So the weary pilgrims plod on home, ready to pack for a very early start tomorrow. How do they hang on to these walls? So this is 5:30 in the morning, we're just about to leave and we've been given coffee and cake, which is lovely. Jerusalem at 5 in the morning. Very special kind of light. And a great trip.
شعبك يا حنانا يا نبي تسهل تبرك في سمانا من زمان الوقت حامي حمانا وشعبك خلفك أردني ثيبي راحت عالبترة ويني وجابتني يا نور خالد ميلي علي ميلي ويلي يما الخسر الناحيني يا نمنم خانم قلبي نار ويلي يما الخسر الناحيني